that, but it might be a good opportunity.
I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay. Okay. I would be willing. Do you want to do an evaluation test? Okay. Okay.
No, I left it. I'm kind of not with it today.
Oh, don't worry. The theme of tonight's meeting is ad hoc.
Oh, wonderful. This is perfect then. The one I was
So does that help?
supposed to be doing was the research one. But I'm just being really honest. I got confused and thought I was supposed to be evaluating tonight because of somehow last week. So, but I'm good. So we're going to ad hoc tonight. So.
Cool. So Gina's written down for me the speech title, and her speech title tonight is The Anatomy of a Bond. And we know that Gina is in financial analysis, and she knows a lot about this subject. So I'm certain this is going to just be like a self-introduction to us. This is like the icebreaker for Gina. She can do this speech blindfolded.
It's good practice.
Yeah, exactly. Please help me welcome Gina Markland, Anatomy of a Bond.
As Mike said, I work as a financial advisor with Jones Investments. And one of the things that I have found to be a very good product to sell is a bond. However, I also have found that many people really don't understand what bonds are. You call somebody on the phone and you ask them if they're interested in income, and they might say yes. Of course, everybody's interested in some income, and so you might offer them a bond, but there's many people who really don't understand. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit tonight about what a bond is and a little bit about how it works. So, my first question to you is this. How many of you understand what a mortgage is? Most of us understand exactly what a mortgage is, correct? Okay, let's use NC State University. NC State wants to build a new, I don't know, something new, veterinary school. And they need some money to build that veterinary school, just like you might need some money to build a house. So in essence, what they do is they say, I gotta get some money somewhere. So what they do is they sell a bond, or they put out a bond, and basically what happens is this. If I buy a bond that is for sale, and that it's being done by NC State, or for the purpose of that, then what they are actually doing is taking my money, I'm going to give my money here, and they're going to pay me an interest for using my money. Just like whenever you borrow money from the bank to build a house, what happens? You pay the bank interest to use their money. Well, a bond sort of works the same way. Only they're going to pay you interest for letting them use your money. And I'm going to say, okay, NC State, you can have $50,000 of mine. I'm going to buy 50,000 bonds. And they're going to say, okay, we're going to use your money, and we're going to pay you for using the money. So you have different interest rates. So let's just say, for instance, that I say, okay, I want to buy 50,000 bonds at $50,000, right? So now we're at 1 for 1. Now those bonds, I get to keep them for a certain amount of time. And usually when you sell a bond or you buy a bond, they're going to tell you about how long you're going to get to keep it. And I say about for two reasons. We call that a maturity date. So bonds may be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. So, but let's say, for instance, this time I'm going to buy one that's a 20-year bond. Okay? So, in 20 years, if I bought that bond at $50,000, and I get to keep that bond until it matures, then I'm going to get back my $50,000. So this is a 20-year time span. So in the meantime, if I bought this bond during this time and I said, okay, they said, I'm going to pay you 5%, to use your money. During the time I own this bond, every year, and it pays, most of them pay what we call semi-annually. But whenever we say semi-annually, it's 5% on a per annum basis. But I'll get paid on it twice a year, especially what happens. So what happens is I get paid while I use this bond, or I have this bond. It's great for people who are retired and want income because it creates a consistent income stream. Everybody with me? Okay. But this is the kicker, because this is what people ask. If this is a 20-year bond, a lot of times what I get people, I hear them say, they go, well, if it's an older person, they'll go, but I'll be dead by that time. What do I want that bond for? And so I look at them and I'll go, okay, are you buying it for income? Or are you buying it to sell? And so the big thing is that you're really buying it for income. It's kind of like, to use an NC State agriculture piece, if you have a milk cow that's giving you milk all the time, are you going to kill that cow? Probably not. Yes, when?
Ted will.
When it's what? Productivity. There you go. When it's productivity declines. But as long as it's giving you milk, you're probably not going to cook. Okay. A bond is kind of like that. Now, but this is the kicker. While you have this thing, the value of that bond, because people will say, well, what if I don't want it anymore? You can sell at any business day of the week. But this is the deal. The value of that bond can go up and down while you own it. So, if you buy it at $50,000, you could look up one day and it's only $35,000. And people get a little bit antsy about that. But if you hold it till maturity, what's going to happen? You get your $50,000 back. But let's just say I hold it and one day it goes up to $55,000. If I sold it when it was up here, I not only would have my interest being paid along that line, but I would also get $5,000 profit. So, generally these are long-term products that you want to keep. But they can go up and down in value. So, what makes them go up and down in value is the question. Interest rates. Think about your mortgage again. If you had a mortgage that was 5%, and then all of a sudden you could get that same mortgage at 2%, what would you do?
Mortgage.
You refi your mortgage, right? Okay. So what happens then if the interest rates go down? What do you think happens to the value of your bond?
It goes up.
It goes up. Yeah, they're inversely related. So what happens though, there's one other thing I forgot to tell you. Sometimes, and most of the time, these bonds have what we call a call date. And it's really protection for you. What the call date does is it tells you at what point, if NC State decides they want to pay off their money or they want to refinance, at what point they can call that bond back in. So generally you will have a call date, and most of the times it's 5 years out. So it may be though you think you're going to have this bond for 20 years, if you have a call date that is 5 years out, you may, in 5 years, you may get a phone call from either the financial advisor, usually it might be me, and say, okay, your bond's been called. The question is, when it's called, at what price is it called? When you buy the bond, always ask that question. Most of the time, it is back at this $50,000, is what it's called. So you hadn't made any money, you hadn't lost any money, except you haven't made some money because you've got an interest on it. And that is a very short synopsis on get out of the other bond. You're buying it for income, you're allowing someone else to use your money, and they're paying you an interest rate. Thank you.
That was great. Now we have a whole bunch of those annoying questions after you get done with comments on that information. But we can't do that tonight. We'll do that later on. At this point in our meeting,